guys, hi there. It's been long time. I missed you so much. I'm sorry it's been a while, but I'm glad to catch up with you today in a very interesting topic. Guess what? Erectile dysfunction. This is a very sensitive topic. There's a slogan going on in Kenya right now, women saying, I cannot stand a 2-minute man. And it's hurting to our brothers, to our uncles, to our male counterparts, because it's not their wish, but somehow people cannot have a good erection. So let's discuss this issue. Welcome. What is erectile dysfunction? And I'm drawing my discussion from the recent research by Leslie and colleague 2021. Erectile dysfunction, formerly known as impotence, it is the inability to maintain a rigid penile erection that will lead to satisfactory sexual intercourse. And this is common among men above 40 years. And for it to be diagnosed as erectile dysfunction, it must have been persistent for 6 months or above. Erectile dysfunction has two broad causes. The first category is organic, which primarily means there is an existing medical condition, and then the other category is psychological. So when we talk of organic or underlying medical condition, I would like to say that any disease or any condition that affects the cells, the arteries, the tissues of the penile region, this affects the flow of blood down into the penis and therefore interferes with the ability to achieve and maintain an erection. Some of these diseases include diabetes, hypertension, endothelium dysfunction, among others. For example, in the case of hypertension, when the blood vessels have a lot of fats deposit along them, they get narrower, and so blood is pumped at a very high pressure, and also the quantity of blood being pumped is less because of this condition. When there are so many salts or minerals deposited along the blood vessels, the vessels get narrower, and this interferes with the ability of blood to flow down into the penis, and so such conditions result into erectile dysfunction. There are many other health conditions that are associated with this issue of erectile dysfunction. Psychologically, we are living in a society where there are so many expectations about how a couple should behave, about how a man should perform on bed and all that. And this affects the quality of life. Things like anxiety, things like depression, things like fear or shame, or someone dealing with an issue or trauma in their life. This affects their ability to achieve or maintain an erection if their issues have not been handled. So apart from the organic, that is the medical causes, and the psychological causes, there are also other predisposing factors or risk factors that are associated with erectile dysfunctions. For example, it could be hormonal. There are diseases like sclerosis that trigger hormonal imbalance, and this results into erectile dysfunction. There are trauma. If someone fell down and got an injury along the penile region, and this could affect the flow of blood into the penile region, and that would affect the ability to achieve and maintain an erection. Some of them could also be medications like antidepressants, antihypertensives. Some of them have been associated with erectile dysfunction. That is why it is important for you to always consult a medic before buying drugs, because you just may never know what implication they could cause into your body. It is important to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that erectile dysfunction is a serious issue that is affecting the victim and the partner, and also the quality of their lives. Let me give you some few statistics about erectile dysfunction. The first one is that it is said that 40% of men with erectile dysfunction are hypertensive. And 35% of men who have hypertension, they also present with erectile dysfunction. That means that there is a two-way interaction between erectile dysfunction and hypertension. If you are hypertensive, you are at risk of erectile dysfunction. If you have erectile dysfunction, you are at risk of becoming hypertensive. The second statistic is that among men who are 50 years and above, those that are diabetic have 46% likelihood of getting erectile dysfunction compared to those who do not have diabetes. That is, for them, their risk of getting erectile dysfunction is only 24%. Hyperlipidemia, which is a condition associated with too much fats or cholesterol in the blood, is associated with 42% likelihood of getting erectile dysfunction. Another interesting statistic is that obesity has been associated with 50% chances of getting erectile dysfunction. If you have a problem with your weight, if you are overweight, if you are obese, it is better to handle the issue, because if you let it unattended, then you increase your chances as a man of getting erectile dysfunction by 50%. Also, smoking and alcohol consumption in excess quantities over a long period of time has been associated with erectile dysfunction. The question is, how can we manage erectile dysfunction? And I would like to start by saying it is a multi-approach, if I may say so. Management aspect. Like, there are different things that need to be put into place, a holistic approach. There is the dietary, there is the medical, there is the psychological, and there is the exercise aspect. So erectile dysfunction must be managed holistically in those four aspects. But for this discussion, I will concentrate on dietary approach to erectile dysfunction, and I'm drawing my illustration from research done by Kenfield et al. 2020. So the first thing you need to consider is nitrates. There are foods that are rich in nitrates, and nitrate is a compound. When taken into the body, it is converted into nitric oxide. So nitric oxide now is responsible for achieving and maintaining an erection. So what foods are rich in nitrates? If we get foods that green leafy vegetables, that is spinach, that is kales, managu, dodo, among others, those foods are rich in nitrates. And as I've said, when these nitrates get into the body, it is oxidized into nitric oxide, which is now responsible for initiating and maintaining an erection. Number 2, omega-3 fatty acids. These ones are responsible for protecting the cells, the arteries, the tissues and organs from mechanical damage. What foods are rich in omega-3 fatty acids? We have cod liver oil, we have fish like salmon, and we have omena or daga, or as you call it in silverfish. These foods are rich in omega-3 fatty acid that prevents physical or physiological damage along the tissues, the cells and the organs around the penile region. Number 3 important thing is flavonoids. Flavonoids are substances that help us to convert harmful chemicals, which we call radicals, in the body into harmless substances. So that if we are having too much weight and the body is doing metabolisms and all that, we do not want to form harmful substances in the body, because then they can trigger erectile dysfunction. So what foods are rich in flavonoids? If you can get pepper, if you can get berries, if you can get pears, if you can get apples, those are rich in flavonoids, including citrus fruits also. Number 4, we are also targeting zinc, because hypogonadism, which is a condition associated with low sperm count or lower semen, is linked to erectile dysfunction, and zinc is one mineral that is associated with sperm count, among other functions. So foods that are rich in zinc include legumes and nuts. So ground nuts, cashew nuts, pumpkin seeds, and legumes like beans, lentils, green grams, among others, and also animal proteins. They are rich in zinc, and this will help you have a good sperm count, and therefore blood will flow, and also with a good sperm count you will achieve a quality erection. Another important thing to consider is take plenty of fluids, because 70% of blood or even more comes from water. And so if you do not have enough blood, then you will not have adequate flow at the penile region. So take plenty of water, plenty of fluids, like milk, like porridge, fresh water. You can take water, you can take fresh fruit juice, among others. Those ones will help you to have adequate quantity of blood. Take whole grains, because we have said overweight and obesity are associated with 50% risk of erectile dysfunction. So to avoid being overweight, take whole grains, because that way you are trying to manage your weight. Then avoid too much sugars, too much fats, and too much salt. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to say that erectile dysfunction is a serious health concern. Let's not joke about it. Let's not tease our male counterparts about it. Let us support them, and let us show them direction on how they can seek help. They can seek nutritional help, medical help. They can consult a psychologist if they are having psychological issues, so that this issue can be solved for couples to have a quality life, even as far as their intimacy is concerned. Thank you for your time. Please like, subscribe if you haven't, and share with your friends. Till next time, shalom.